live. A show so nice. We're doing it twice. Changing the sport up a little bit. Tuesday, April 2nd, coming down the home stretch of basketball. 4-game slate today. Starting at 8 p.m., I might add. So be ready for that, everybody. Laffy and I are back. We've got 4 basketball games to talk about. It's exciting stuff this end of the NBA season.
I might even shave today.
There you go. Get really ready for it.
I mean, dude, I'm looking gross.
What are you gonna do? I'm not much better right now.
Happens. No, you know what? I can agree.
Thanks, man.
You know, dude, look, you were. I'll tell you what. What did you do? Didn't you sell insurance or something before this?
I was a financial analyst for clinical trials.
All right, so I was close.
I was in banking for a hot minute.
Okay, that I knew you were something like that. So, did you go into an office?
I did.
Okay. Did you shave more often?
I certainly did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Working from home, man, it can turn things upside down. I really had to change that. Like when I first started working from home, I caught myself getting real lazy, and I was like, okay, I got it. This is not good. Adjustments must be made.
Like, yeah, I really need to start like working out or like physically exerting myself in some way.
You know, I started 2-3 weeks ago.
Did you stop 3 weeks ago as well?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I mean, I play hockey once a week, but I have like a little gym I set up in the basement when I used to actually work out. Lost like every bit of muscle mass I had, but now I've been doing it 4 times a week, trying to do every other day for the last 3 weeks. I don't always get it, but I'm there, and I'm not giving up. I'm going to do it today as well, man. And look what I'm doing, because some people like enjoy working out, enjoy lifting, enjoy running 10 miles uphill. Not me, you know.
Not me either.
No, some people like runner's high. Other people find highs in far easier ways where they don't have to move outside of their arms.
Yeah, but I like those particularly.
Yeah,
I like to get a Netflix high.
Right, there you go.
Or Hulu high.
There you go. So I figure I'd go downstairs. I do like 30-35 minutes. And that's good. That's all I need, you know, just to exert some physical, some level of energy, and eventually I'll get there.
One note from the YouTube chat right now that I want to hit before I get to plugs, and then we tackle these 4 games. What's more difficult today, figuring out Atlanta value or getting tickets for Avengers? It's going to be Atlanta value for me because I've never seen the Avengers.
What, is there a new Avengers coming out?
I have no idea.
That's hard to get tickets to?
I have no idea.
I'm guessing.
That would be my lean as well.
Yeah. Not for me.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm not hating on you.
No. Like they're clearly visual masterpieces. I've just never seen them. I've seen like 15 minutes of the first Iron Man. It's really my only exposure to that entire genre.
Yeah.
And I watched Deadpool, but that's not really what. It's not the same.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen any of them, honestly.
Highly recommend Deadpool. It's funny. Like Ryan Reynolds just like swears a lot and stuff.
It's good, huh? All right.
It's a completely different vibe.
I don't know if I've ever
seen a comedy of action movies.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen a comic book movie.
You're not really missing anything to me. You are missing things to a large majority of people, but you're not going to get me to rally for it.
I watch a lot of movies too. I enjoy it. I like TV shows, good ones. I don't even think I saw Dark Knight, Josh.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sure I would like that. Everyone said it's good.
I'm Batman.
But I've never gotten into that type of stuff.
I don't know. I don't know why I don't either. I will go see John Wick on opening night, though.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's my jam.
I like the IMAX 3D too, man. I get into that. Like, for The Revenant.
Never saw it.
with Leonardo DiCaprio. We got
He bangs that bear.
I was so pissed because I don't go to the movies often, and I said I'm seeing this in IMAX 3D, but because Star Wars was out at the same time, they create what is it Disney that made it? I forgot. They basically said, um, all of the IMAX theaters in the country are going to play our movie for a month straight, and only this movie in IMAX, or we will pull it from your IMAX theaters. So it was the only movie in IMAX for 30 straight days. And I was relegated to watching The Revenant on a regular screen, and it took away from the experience.
Seen 2 movies in 3D recently. I'll give you $1 if you can pick either one of those 2.
No, I mean, no idea. 0 chance. I'm not even gonna try.
Okay. The first one was opening night of Jackass 3D.
Wait, you're talking like 10 years ago?
No, this is just a couple years ago. They came back together again and did a third Jackass movie. But they
Jackass 3D? That was like,
I mean, maybe it was 10 years ago. I saw it with my wife, so it
was
had to happen inside of
2010, bro.
Okay, well then we've just been. Time doesn't stand like.
Yeah,
I have no
it was
idea.
Thoroughly enjoyable.
I saw it with my wife, so I knew it was in Wilmington, and Sausage Party.
Okay, end the stream.
That's a fantastic movie.
Was it good?
Hilarious.
Was it yeah.
I mean, I was obviously in a headspace that made it even funnier.
Of course. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like
anytime I can get a hot dog to curse at me on a movie screen in 3D.
Yeah, in 3D. You went for one specific reason. Now I can understand it.
Healthy
now it makes
giggles in that one. Yeah, those 2 movies have very similar delivery systems of comedy for me.
Right.
For Gamer today, NBA Strategies, the promo code, 50% off your first month with us. Any monthly package you choose, including ones with Fantasy Cruncher. Uh-oh. Who's dropping? Me? Lothy? Is this happening for real? We're going so well, too. Yep, there he goes. We'll figure it out. 50% off your first month with us, and he's back.
Did you disappear?
Not to me, I didn't.
Oh, you left. It went bloop, bloop.
Yeah, you did the same thing.
That's really weird.
I mean, I talked about it. I was like, oh, there goes Lothy. Yeah, he'll be back.
I just looked like a deer in headlights and said, huh, interesting. Continue.
Yeah, no, For Gamer, NBA Strategies, the promo code. Hit the like button. Very, very helpful for us. So if you can do that now, we would really appreciate it. You ready to do this? 8 o'clock start tonight. Remember that. Live before lock tonight will be from 7 to 8, so we won't have to overlap. You can tackle them both. Tune in for everything. Oklahoma City Thunder hosting the Los Angeles Lakers. 118.5 implied total for the Thunder. 106 for the Lakers. 12.5 point line. By all accounts, everyone's in for Oklahoma City. By all accounts, everybody's out for the Lakers.
Yeah.
Really big pace up spot here. This is a fantastic spot for OKC. I am getting to a ton of Russell Westbrook, slightly less than a ton of Paul George, tons of Jeremy Grant, a lot of Schroeder, a little bit of Adams. It's really hard for me to not want these guys because that Lakers team is dreadful.
Very difficult to not get there. I don't know if you've been paying attention. They just dropped a home game to the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
The Mavericks should be tanking, just beat the Thunder in OKC and then beat the Sixers. But the Thunder cannot lose this game. Like, to me, it was ridiculous that they lost that game to the Dallas Mavericks without Luka Doncic. Without Luka. I mean, there's no way they're 12.5 point favorites, but I don't care. I mean, I just love all of them, just as you pointed out. The Spurs had also lost, so they're still tied. It's funny, though, the Clippers and Jazz, the Jazz specifically, have been streaking, so they've pulled away heavy. They both have 47 wins now. The Spurs and Thunder are stuck at 44. They've been struggling. The Thunder are 3-7 over their last 10. Big spot for them. I'm with you here. Russell Westbrook, Paul George. and Steven Adams, who is still underpriced, they're all really great.
DK, I don't love PG as much. I just don't love his health right now. And at 10K, I'm not super confident in it. On FanDuel at 10-2 and knowing you have to get two people at that position, I find him really difficult to avoid. Do you prefer Russ or Paul George more today?
So you're saying it's site specific for you?
It's Russ for me on both sites. I have very little issue getting to George on FanDuel, whereas DraftKings, it's so much easier to not have to play him because of MPE.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be Westbrook here. Now, the big thing for George, health or not, he's playing just ridiculous minutes. He's played 40 or more or 39 or more minutes in 5 straight games, whereas Westbrook is still getting a lot of run, but I'm projecting him for 37 tonight.
Same.
George for 39. I like both. I am going to go Westbrook here. Obviously, price point comes into play, but this feels like a spot where Westbrook dominates. I wouldn't even be surprised if this game blows out and Westbrook has a triple-double midway through the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really easy for him. Points and rebounds in particular should come pretty easily.
Yeah.
I get the sense there might be a couple of missed shots on that Lakers side. Just a guess.
I mean, they're terrible, man. The Lakers have no LeBron James. Kyle Kuzma, who knows if he's going to play. Yeah, it's really tough. I'll say this much though, I still think McGee is in play.
Sure. Yeah, I got 28% on FanDuel, 30 on DK. I mean, this is a pace up spot for the Lakers.
He keeps smashing. And Rondo's another one. Yeah. Rondo had some really disgusting games. Now you've got LeBron out for the rest of the year. I am not opposed to rostering Rondo either. Keep in mind, he played 31 minutes last game, but he got injured. I think he had a laceration and returned. He lost about 4 or 5 minutes. So I'm going to assume that he's going to continue to play his full allotment of minutes here. And I know, why not? It's not like he's one of your prized pieces.
No, run him into the ground. Play him 48 minutes. Who gives a shit?
Right. So if you think Rondo plays like 33, 34 minutes, which I do, in a super pace up spot, the Thunder have been playing terribly lately. Like, if you're worried too much about a blowout, to me, I wouldn't be. They've been horrible. The Lakers are very bad, but the Thunder are playing really poor basketball. That doesn't mean that Paul George and Westbrook and Adams aren't still going to have big games. It just means that as a team, they've looked atrocious. I like Rondo here. I like JaVale McGee here. I want to ask you, though, what are you doing with the rest of this team? Because Lance Stevenson was garbage last game, played 16 minutes.
Yeah.
I somehow still cashed with Stevenson, but I guess that's because everyone played him.
I was going to say, I assume he was very chalky.
Right. It's probably because everyone played him. The rest of this team should at least warrants discussion, but
yeah,
for me, it's Rondo and McGee.
So I have Kuzma in as of right now, which is getting me to like infinite amounts of Kuzma. 6,600 on FanDuel, 6K on DK. Like if he plays, he's playing north of 30 minutes, and in a pace up spot like this, he's gonna have every opportunity to just gun. So I do like Kuzma if he's in. Lance, I'd be going right back to that. Well, I've got roughly mid 30% on FanDuel and DraftKings. I have him in for 26 minutes. There's only so many bodies to go around. So if Kuzma is in, McGee, Rondo, Kuzma, Lance are going to be pretty big pieces of my lineups. If Kuzma ends up out, I assume like Mo Wagner soaks up 25 plus, and that sub 4K price tags, he becomes an interesting value piece.
But 29 minutes last game.
Yeah.
I would have definite interest in Wagner here, assuming he's starting. And it's obviously assuming that Kuzma's out. But regardless of Kuzma's status, McGee and Rondo, I think, are still very much in play here.
Agreed. Completely agree. Who do you prefer, JaVale or Rondo? separated by $400 on DraftKings today.
Yeah, that's the difficult one. And both of them play at two positions that are usually the deepest.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now. I'll just pull it up. Rondo, still McGee.
Yep, I agree.
Pretty close though. It's not too far off. Like OKC defensively is fine, but they're still a very fast-paced team. This game should feature a ton of scoring. I was surprised to see a 224.5 total. A lot of, I mean, that doesn't that seem low? 224.
I would say yes, but I don't think that it's low because the Lakers are so bad. They just don't have offensive talent. I mean, you can only expect them to score so many points when it's Alex Caruso and Lance and KCP, Jonathan Williams.
I hear you, but
I mean, they're doing everything they can to not play Mike Muscala.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this game is going to be really difficult to ignore just because of the pace. There's no real quality defense. The Thunder defense has not been what most people will probably think it has been as of late. I don't think Paul George is particularly healthy, so that makes it a little bit more interesting on the LA side. They're going to get walloped, but they're playing 48 minutes one way or the other. It's sort of like stacking up garbage teams in baseball. There's so much opportunity to go around on the Lakers.
Right, and I'll just say it again, man. Jalen Brunson and Ryan Brokoff and Trey Burke and Dirk Nowitzki and Justin Jackson and Dwight Powell just beat the Thunder in OKC.
That's embarrassing.
So if they don't turn it around, the Lakers might hang around.
Favorite play in this game, Russ?
Yeah, Russ.
Okay.
And if Kuzma's out, man, Rondo, I think it makes a decent. Maybe it doesn't make a huge difference on Rondo. I think I like Rondo anyway, a lot.
Yeah, so do I. One down, 3 to go.
All right.
San Antonio Spurs hosting the Atlanta Hawks. 119.5 implied total for the Spurs, 108 for the Hawks. 11.5 point favorites. Spurs defense has been absolutely fantastic over their last 15 games, just locking stuff down. This is a monstrous pace-up spot for San Antonio, gaining 5.5 possessions just from my data. Oh, they look a lot better on DraftKings. A couple of these guys are just priced comically low. Got to point out Derek White right out of the gate. 4,700 on DraftKings. Very clearly, to me, the best play in this entire game. Specifically on DK. He's $1,500 more expensive on FanDuel. I'm still getting him there, but it's really, really difficult for me to not recommend Derek White at 4,700 on a 4-gamer.
I agree. Hey, I told you his shooting would regress. I just didn't know when. But yeah, look, he's struggled lately, particularly from the field. But does it really matter? I mean, 4,700 Derek White, 28 to 30 minutes. I don't understand. You know what it is? The argument against him, I don't know what it would be. I don't know what the argument would be against him.
There isn't one. There really isn't one.
So it's him and then Aldridge has been on fire. Like Aldridge will have, one or two ugly games scattered in between, and then he just erupts for like a 40 fantasy point first half. He's another guy here against Atlanta. I'm not opposed to him. I mean, really, when you're facing Atlanta, you've got a significant pace up spot. You have Aldridge at 8K flat on DraftKings. On FanDuel, 9,200 is a bit rich for my blood, but it's the San Antonio Spurs against the Atlanta Hawks, and I'm not sure what else you need to ask for. Yes, it's a 10.5 point spread, but you mentioned the Spurs defense has played very well lately. As a team, they have not looked too great, though. And they've kind of spun their wheels right there next to the OKC Thunder. You have to like this team. Jakob Poeltl, I don't see myself getting to here. I don't think it's necessary. Well, I mean, I don't know if he's going to get any minutes.
I mean,
Like,
I would expect him to get minutes more than anybody. Not that I
why?
think that he's going to be like getting minutes, so to speak, but I mean, Atlanta's trotting out Alex Len and Deontay Davis and the ghost of Tyler Zeller. This feels like a perfect spot where they can just like play Pirtle a couple extra minutes. I only have him in for 22. I still think he's a fantastic value at 3,700. I mean, do you think he's going to be chalky?
Well, I mean, the thing is with Collins not expected to play, I wouldn't be surprised if they just went smaller here. What, Dedmon's out too, right? So we're gonna have Alex Len, like you said, Deontay Davis.
Tyler Zeller not on the Hawks any longer?
Tyler Zeller hasn't played a single game this season.
Yeah, they signed him to a 10-day in middle March. Thought they kept him around for a second. I guess I'm wrong.
Oh, I apologize. He played 2 games this season.
I thought they kept him around. Didn't they just re-sign someone to a 10-day? Let me check 10 days in 2 ways. Because no John Collins today, most likely.
That's what I'm saying. Collins is doubtful. Dedmon's done for how many big men have we lost lately? It's kind of crazy.
A lot.
Right?
All right, 2-way contract tracker.
Oh, you're right. He played March 9th and March 13th.
Do we know if Poitras is healthy?
I'll tell you right now.
He hasn't been playing, I can tell you that much.
No, he's out. Oh, wait. Let's see. He's not definitively ruled out. My guess is he does not play here. I don't think he plays here. Jay Zach has a decent question. He said, when the hell did Forbes become 4,600 and is he playable?
Kinda.
I mean, if he's playing big minutes, I don't think it's crazy. I don't. You're really just playing it for the pace up spot. Hopefully he gets 30 minutes. It's against the Hawks. You can do worse than that. Yeah. It's also going to depend on what type of value we have. It might only be 4 games, but it's late in the season, so we will have stuff open up here. I guess with Pirtle for me is if he is going to be chalk, and my assumption that he will be pretty popular. Like I don't know what the downside is to fading him when, and I'm sure he'll go for like 50 for the first time in his career, but I just don't see him doing a whole lot, and I don't know if he plays more than 20 minutes. I don't blame anyone for playing him because he's dirt cheap, but
yeah, I kind of like him at that price tag.
Yeah, look, I'm not gonna say you're wrong.
I feel like you normally love him, so I'm really surprised.
I like Pirtle as a player. I just hate that he's in San Antonio is all.
Reasonable.
But I think we just have different opinions because I wouldn't be surprised to see them just play small and have Deontay Davis. Well, small meaning not too big, like 2 big bigs in the front court. Just have like Davis back up Alex Len, and then have some smaller guys at the 4. They're out so many players. Collins, Spellman, Dedmon, Poitras. We mentioned Zeller's not there. Plumlee is gone. I mean, who else is there?
These guys are dreadful. I have 19 minutes unaccounted for right now, so watch out for Isaac Humphries.
I was going to
April 1st.
I was going to say
yesterday.
That's the only one I can think of as well.
Yeah, he's going to have to play.
That's who I was thinking of too.
He's going to have to play. So, I like DeRozan more than I like Aldridge. I just want to sum up the Spurs quickly. They are better on DK than they are on FanDuel. I think Patty Mills is okay for the flat minimum on FanDuel. I think Bertans is okay for the flat minimum on FanDuel if you need drop guys. I have very little interest in Rudy Gay unless we find out that he's starting again. But on DK, it's Derek White at a dumb price, DeRozan, and then I think that Pirtle works as a pay down option.
Yeah, and just throwing this out there, moving to Atlanta, I agree with everything you said on San Antonio. Isaac Humphries is actually a 7-footer.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're gonna see here. I think it's weird that he would play the 4, and I don't know if
Davis
Pop,
will, in theory.
yeah, he's 6'11". I don't think Pop really cares what Atlanta does. I doubt he's gonna. I doubt his rotation and his lineups will be determined by whether or not Isaac Humphries or Deontay Davis is in the front court.
1 second. Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately not going to matter. It's just 3 different flavors of bad in Atlanta.
Yep.
There's a lot to like on Atlanta, though. No John Collins, no Taurean Prince, at least most likely. I'm not really enamored with Trey Young here. I know it's sort of like becoming his team in this narrative down the stretch or down the end of the season, but he's pretty expensive, and this is a really, really, really bad spot. He's not a guy that I'm going to get to with any sort of volume. The guy I'm going to get to with the most volume, though, and I hate it. 3,600 on FanDuel, no brainer there. It's 4,400 on DK. How you feeling about Justin Anderson today?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Sorry. Did you mention Rudy Gay?
I said that I'm not interested unless he's starting.
Oh, all right. Well, I would think he starts. If he does start, I'm going to give him 30 minutes, and I'll have a lot of Rudy Gay. I'm with you, though. If he comes off the bench, knocking his minutes down quite a bit, and now that his price, 5,700, I agree with you. But it is if he starts, he's definitely a very solid play.
Hey, Chris Montana in YouTube chat question: what time does MLB start? 2 hours and 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, you missed that
Fully
one.
happened already.
And we went for 2 hours, so
Yeah.
you can check that out.
Yeah, I'm getting a monstrous amount of Anderson. FanDuel doesn't count, so we don't have to talk about that. 4,400 on DraftKings, not as advantageous of a price tag for him. He's dreadful. Former Sixer, what do you think of him?
Justin Anderson is you kind of have to have interest here because he's going to play minutes and he's going to get quite a bit of work, right? He's going to be out there. He's going to get opportunities, and that's what it comes down to. I mean, outside of Trey Young, what do you really have here? By the way, Taurean Prince is expected to sit as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bembry and Herder and Bazemore. Yeah, what did you say? $100 above the minimum on FanDuel, right?
Yeah, I mean with the ability to drop salaries, it just doesn't
it just makes too much sense.
There's not an analysis piece of that, It
makes too much sense. I don't think he's out of play on DraftKings, but he's not nearly as appealing as he is on FanDuel.
Right.
And Alex Len is $5,100 on DraftKings. On FanDuel, $5,300. Yes, I still very much think Alex Len is in play. He's one of those guys that it can get sketchy for sure, and I still never know what's going to happen with his playing time. But he's a very high upside player who, in any matchup, can go off for 20 and 10 easy. Alex Len to me is still very much on the board.
I got 28% on FanDuel right now. I don't have a ton on DK. I think it's just easier to get to some other options, but I would still clearly have him. Would you prefer to have Len on DraftKings or Deontay Davis at the flat minimum 3K?
Probably. How many minutes is Davis going to get?
I gave him 22, but I mean, it's not as if he couldn't play more than that just because.
Right.
I think 19 more to allocate to guys. I'm running out of bodies. I can't even. It took me 10 minutes just to figure out who the hell was actually on the Hawks.
So he got 22 minutes last game, and John Collins played 38 minutes. 38 minutes.
Blue Jays traded Kevin Pillar to the Giants for Allen Hansen and Derek Law.
Oh, wow, look at that.
and Juan DePaula.
So you have a pretty good chance that McKinney is in the lineup tonight
Yeah.
again.
Yes, you do.
Collins played. I have Deontay Davis at 22 minutes, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him play more either, man. Yeah, maybe just go to Davis at min Sal. Makes sense playing around the basket. Probably the better value.
Yeah. 3K is just, it's really hard to pass that up on DraftKings.
Yeah.
Does he have power forward eligibility by any chance? Do you have that in front of you?
Who? Davis?
Yeah.
Deontay Davis is only center eligible, which
Okay.
kind of sucks, but
Yeah. I was
so
gonna
is
say, if
Alex
he has
Len.
power forward eligibility, then this question can stop immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Should have known from the beginning that he didn't. How do you feel about Bazemore?
He's Kent Bazemore.
That works for me. He's 3,800 on
I'm
FanDuel, so
serious.
just
Like,
feel free to fire him in again.
he's Kent Bazemore. I really don't know what to think of him, and I don't have any guarantees that he's going to play a lot of minutes either.
I gave him 24. I mean, there's clearly more minutes to go around. I'm probably going to have to give him a couple more. They just haven't been giving anybody these sort of minutes. We haven't had to react to these guys missing yet. So we don't really have the path, and there is no natural path because they're so bad and they're missing bodies and they're churning through garbage. So
I know. It's bad.
Yeah, like maybe Bembry will play 30 minutes. Maybe they'll continue to just play him 20. I don't really know right now. Gonna have to read a little bit more about Hawks today.
Of the guys on like the active roster, Collins, Spellman, Dedmon, Plumlee, Poitras, and Prince are all expected to sit.
Oh, the end of the NBA season is dreadful.
It's brutal. Pay close attention to any updates there what the starting lineup's going to be. I think that's all we can do on it for now, though.
Works for me. We're at the halfway point, and Lofty and I are only at 30 minutes, so this is some kind of a record, but that's what happens when you've already talked for 2 hours.
30 minutes on 2 games is still a lot.
Yeah, I guess. Well, first couple minutes we're just shooting the shit, talking about Avengers and 3D movies. Classic stuff. All right, 2 games to go. Hit the like button, baby. Sacramento Kings and Houston Rockets. 111 implied total for the Kings. 116 for the Rockets. Let me bring back up those depth charts just so I don't miss it. For Houston, Harden in. Fareed doubtful. Nene is probable. For Sacramento, Bagley questionable. Giles out. Yogi Ferrell questionable. So we'll start on the Sacramento side. I have Bagley in. I have Ferrell in. I'm not really getting to much of anything if those things happen. Unfortunately, Harrison Barnes is a guy that pops up for me on FanDuel because of his position. I get a little bit of Bielitsa as well at 4,800. A little bit of Buddy Hield. Price is finally falling on DraftKings, which is making him slightly more appealing to me. But Sacramento just doesn't feel like the spot if everybody ends up being in. If Bagley ends up being out, it's going to change the game up a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. This team's been a little bit more difficult recently.
Yeah.
But, it looks, though, it very much looks like, Bagley is not even on the injury report anymore.
Really?
Yeah. And then we know Giles is out. As far as the playing time goes, last time we saw, I don't even know if Jaeger knows what he's doing. Fox played 38 minutes against Houston. He played 33 against San Antonio. Buddy Hield played 36 and 31. I'm just going to continue to assume that their minutes are still very much intact. I don't love the matchup. Houston defensively has been fine. And
they've been way better than fine. 4% better than average over their last 15 games.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, better, a lot better than fine. When you have LA, when you have the Lakers, when you have OKC, you have a shorthanded Atlanta team. Screw the matchup. There's still nobody there. When you have San Antonio against Atlanta, with what frequency can you really get to Sacramento? This is not a team that I have much interest in. at all today, especially with Bagley expected to return.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. They're really different. They're not priced in an advantageous way. They don't have a particularly interesting implied total. It's a pace down spot for them. The Rockets grind this shit to a halt. So I don't really need much Sacramento here.
Nope, me neither.
How are you feeling about the beard? A little bit of a pace up spot for Houston, 116 implied total. 12-4 on FanDuel, 11-4 on DraftKings. I will happily play some James Harden. I like him on DK.
Yeah, home and home series. He just faced Sacramento 2 days ago. Was okay. He had 50, 11, and 10, 85 fantasy points. Not bad. We'll take it.
Yeah.
I do like him a lot here. Do you prefer Westbrook or Harden?
A good question. Let me take a look at it.
Like the one advantage is, Houston, this game should be closer, but
I have Russell Westbrook beating James Harden 51% of the time. I have them both right around 30%. So it's really just a coin flip for me.
Me too. But
I'm more likely to think that Harden has higher upside because I think this game has a better chance of staying close. I would say that Russ has a higher floor because I think like a 10-10-10 is pretty much inevitable.
Right.
But I don't think he's going to need like 45, 15, and 15 today to carve his way through the Lakers.
No, me neither. God, this is a tough one for me. Let me take a look. So I have Harden. Yeah, I do have Westbrook projected a little bit higher than Harden here. So, and he's cheaper. So right now, I'm definitely going to end up with more Westbrook.
Okay.
I think the field probably is too, though.
I like them both. I mean, they're really hard for me to ignore.
Yeah.
They're certainly my favorite pay options. Like I prefer Harden and Westbrook by miles compared to Paul George or like the Spurs dudes. How are you feeling about one Eric Gordon, 4,600 on FanDuel, just 4,200 on DK? Strikes me as a kind of too low price tag for a guy that's going to play 32 plus minutes. This game is going well, potentially 36, 38.
I just can't do it with Harden and Chris Paul healthy.
Yeah,
there's not enough to go around, and he is so uninvolved outside of scoring. When he isn't scoring, it's not there, and there are plenty of times where Eric Gordon isn't scoring. I mean, look, for example, he scored 18 and 17 points over his last 2 games, 20 and 21 fantasy points. 12 points, 15 fantasy points, 12, 18, 12, 20, 17, 20, 19, 29. It is so difficult for Eric Gordon to give you what you need when he is so rarely adding anything outside of scoring. You truly need 20 plus real points, if not more, just to get close to 30 fantasy points.
He's really not great at doing anything else when Harden and Paul are on the floor together.
Right.
It's really bad.
Yeah, it's bad. So sure, he's cheap, but like I'm not even kidding. If you said, would you rather play Justin Anderson at 44 or Eric Gordon at 42? I'd rather play Justin Anderson because he plays on a team that doesn't have a James Harden and a Chris Paul. Yes, there's a Trey Young, fine, but outside of that, there's absolutely nothing. Anderson's going to get work, and he might not be good, but opportunity oftentimes is more important than skill when you have way more of the former.
Yeah, it makes me nervous. The reason I brought him up is pretty clearly because I'm getting a lot of Gordon. And that never makes me comfortable because he's Eric Gordon and I know how he plays. I'm just really intrigued by that $4,200 price tag. On a bigger slate, it'd be really easy to just completely get away from him.
No, look, I totally understand it. I'm always lower on Gordon than most, just because
you should be.
Yeah, just because he so frequently burns you because he can't do anything outside of scoring. But I do agree with you. You look at how cheap he is, and if you actually, if I remove the bias and put it in context, uh, he's going to project as a pretty decent play. I mean, I have him at um, let's see, 32 minutes. Yeah, that's even if you're projecting at like 0.75 fantasy points per minute. God, that might even be high.
Yeah, I've got 0.70 on FanDuel.
Yeah. I mean, the pace up spot is helpful. He's still Eric Gordon. How many minutes do you have him at?
32.
Yeah, me too.
But that number, I think, would probably be more likely to go higher than lower.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know. I'm very happy with 32. I don't anticipate moving that at least.
Yeah, look, if I end on some Gordon, okay, fine. But if I don't, okay, awesome.
Any CP3? I think he grades out really nice at 7,100.
Yeah, he does. And another pace up spot.
Yeah.
I just wanted to pull up the standings real quick to see how much this matters because I think the Rockets are still in a, let's see. The Rockets 49. Yeah, they have they're pulling for that 3 seed and the Blazers probably begin to fall off at some point. Maybe not, but they've had some easy matchups. Rockets can still push into that 3 seed. Actually, they're only 2 games behind the Nuggets. Not to say that they're going to pass them. I don't think they will. They only have how many games to go? 5 or so. But my guess is to close out the season, the Rockets are going to keep gunning every single night. I don't think you see them let off the gas at all.
No, neither do I. Well, it's going to be interesting because if you're the Rockets, let me pull it up just so that I make sure that I say this correctly. I think that we're about to see a really weird scenario happen.
Go ahead.
And I wouldn't care as much if it wasn't the Rockets, but I know how smart they are. Or at least I trust Daryl Morey to make smart decisions. Okay, so the Warriors are a game ahead of the Rockets. They play tonight. Rockets are, 2.5 back of the Nuggets? Let's just assume that the Rockets are going to win this game tonight. If the Warriors lose to the Nuggets, and the Nuggets have the ability to get the 1 seed, I can't imagine that the Rockets want to stay in the 3 spot. We might see James Harden and Chris Paul and Clint Capella take a bit of a break if the likelihood of the Warriors landing in the 2 spot starts to become a very high number.
You think so?
Yeah. I think that Morey and the Rockets shut that down so that they are not playing the Warriors in round 2.
It is interesting.
But only when you start to see the projected seeding percentages go crazy.
So wait.
And that has to happen with the Nuggets win today.
I always forget the NBA does or doesn't reseed.
They do not.
They do not reseed.
No.
Okay. That's kind of wild, actually. But
there is no way that Morey wants the Warriors in 2 before the Nuggets.
So if the Rockets finish as the 3, or as the 3, and the Warriors finish as the 2 seed, yeah, that's tough though because that's assuming that the Nuggets pass them. And
tonight's game does everything. If the Warrior, if the Warriors just beat the Nuggets, it's not going to matter. They'll be up 2 games.
And I think another wrinkle to that conversation, though, is that the Jazz and the Clippers right now are cruising. They're only 2 games back. So if the Rockets were to let off the gas in the blink of an eye, they could be tied with the Jazz or the Clippers and fall lower than they want. I mean, you don't want to lose home court advantage either. You don't want to fall to 5 or 6. So you're right. Tonight has a lot to do with it, but I think we can at least safely assume that all of the minutes should be there tonight for the Rockets.
I hate reading YouTube chat. It makes me stupider.
All right. Well, what do you think of Clint Capella?
I'm essentially not getting him. 1% on FanDuel, just 8 on DraftKings. The $7,500 tag looks okay on DK. I
Yeah,
just have other
I actually got a
preferences.
pretty good amount of him on DraftKings. Pretty good amount. I got 19% Chris Paul. I got a ton of Westbrook.
How many minutes did you give Capella?
I have Capella at, I have to remember, 33 minutes.
Jesus, I have him at 35. What do you have him projected for?
Let's see. I have him at 41 fantasy points.
Okay, so you are just way higher on him because
Am
I've
I?
got him at 35 minutes, but I only have him at 39.7 fantasy points.
You have him at basically 1 fantasy point per minute against the Kings?
1.14 on FanDuel, so essentially the same. Yeah, that's where he's been for the last 30 days.
Yeah, he's so this is like one of those matchups that for a guy like Capella, I really like. It's a great rebounding matchup. He can get a lot of work done on the boards, offensive putback opportunities. I feel like this matchup does suit Clint Capella really well, which is probably one of the reasons I like him so much. But
I
yeah,
might be a tad low on him, but I don't expect to get him with any sort of volume.
okay. Well, I mean, you think about it. I haven't won. It's not that big. I haven't 30. I haven't 1.2 fantasy points per minute. That's not that crazy at
Yeah.
all. I mean, he's what on the season?
Well, I mean, imagine how much you get of him if you give him the 2 minutes that I'm giving him.
Oh, it'd be crazy. Yeah, he's 1.15 fantasy point per minute guy on the season. So, yeah, if I were to give him 35 here, Capella's going to be everywhere for me.
For sure. I have
So
no aversion
I'll
to
leave
it.
him
It
at
does make me want to
34.
look into it a little bit further because I'm not getting him, and like we have a little bit of ambiguity there. That's more than anything else. That's sort of the reason that I like doing these shows is to bounce everything that's happening off of you or
Absolutely.
Adam because more minds are better and more information is better.
Absolutely. No, it definitely helps
You,
for
it's
both of us.
really difficult to look at everything yourself and think that you're just incredible at finding all of the information.
Yep, I agree.
So,
Yeah, I mean, if I give him 35 minutes, then we're in business.
yeah, I'm sure. You're already
Right?
in business. Now you're opening
Yeah,
up another store or something.
exactly. Yeah. We've got
Terrible
a
joke. This is a terrible joke.
we're franchising.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a great spot for Capella though. And I'm not usually a huge Capella guy, just at least since returning from that injury. Uh, he seems all right though. He's getting big minutes. And he has the upside for more minutes, which is pretty interesting.
Um, frequencies. I think I'm saying that correctly. YouTube chat said, when you look into players more, what sources are you using? It's a really good question. For the most part, NBA Wowie. That's going to be where I go first. Cleaning the glass, if I want like shot breakdowns, NBA.com for like play type data. But Wowie's the first place I'm going just to see how people have been with that sort of group of players on the floor.
Yeah, wow, he's great. NBA.com stats though is phenomenal, and the reason is that none of the other sports, like their actual websites, NFL.com and NHL, NBA.com, maybe NHL, I don't really know, but like MLB, all the NFL, they have your basic stats. NBA has done a phenomenal job of giving you everything.
Yeah,
Like
and it's
just
only going to get even crazier when like second spectrum data starts becoming even more and more public.
yeah, yeah, it's excellent, man. And if you can learn how to really use play type data to your advantage, um, it's huge, man.
Have you seen any of those videos where they have the overlays live on the court? Like as people are moving around, they're
no,
like in hot and
sounds
cold
awesome.
zones. When they get the ball, they turn green because like that's a open shot, no one's near them, and it's like a 60% three type stuff. It's
No,
craziness, and
amazing.
it's
I
just going
love
to
it.
be like the way that like you and I probably watch games in 2 or 3 years.
I love it. I love
Like I know my dad would be like, "Get that shit off my television."
it. Right?
But me, I'd be like, "Oh, don't take that mid ranger. He's within 1.5 feet, and
Dude,
you lower your percentage by 10%."
I would live for that.
Yeah, yeah.
So cool.
Are you ready to talk about the late night hammer?
Let's close it out, baby.
Golden State Warriors hosting the Denver Nuggets. Just an absolutely fantastic basketball game. Warriors are 8-point favorites, 114.25 implied total for the Warriors, 106.25 for the Nuggets. Battle of number 1 and number 2, at least from a conference ranking perspective. This is a fun one, man. If this was not the overlap of baseball season and it didn't start at 10:30, I would watch every single second of this game. I might just have to try to watch it tomorrow morning, even knowing what happened, because I want to see these two teams play. This is really fun.
Yeah. Can't wait.
You'll be breaking in that new bed today.
Dude, I tell you what, man, I'd had some serious back pain. It doesn't go away right away, but I woke up today and I actually felt pretty good. So
Nice.
pretty happy about that. Amazing game to watch.
Yeah.
How much fantasy interest do you actually have in it, though?
So they've got some weird pricing quirks, and that's sort of what I'm targeting. But ultimately, like, as a game itself, it's hard to get a ton of volume because they just have so many different guys that it could be. There's 5 legitimate plays from the Warriors.
Yeah.
There's, I don't know, 9 on the Nuggets. The whole damn team sometimes feels like they're playable. So on FanDuel for the Warriors, they're just not priced very well there. I don't have anybody more than 10%. On DK, Klay Thompson is, I think, pretty clearly the top option. 6,400 is just too cheap of a price tag. I'll get to a little bit of Draymond, some Curry. I'm really not getting to Kevin Durant right now. He has been bad lately. 1.1 fantasy points per minute over his last 30 days. A full 0.2 behind Curry. Craziness.
It's really, really crazy, man. He took 5 shots last game. They blew the doors off Charlotte. He shot 5 for 5, but no, it's nuts. Like, and then if you watch him, like, you'd see the game against Minnesota, it won't count. He knocked down that 3. They said the foul was on the floor.
Yeah, that was nonsense.
The thing to me is, I actually understand calling the foul on the floor if you were going to do that. Here's what I don't understand. That whistle was so late. That whistle came as the ball was entering the basket. That's nonsense.
It's crazy.
Like, listen, what I'm saying is, it should have been a 4-point play.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to call it on the floor, call it on the floor.
Yeah.
Not after the ball.
Really bad optics.
Yeah, and then the foul with 0.5 seconds left. Did he grip him up a little bit? Sure. You never ever call that at the end of a game. You let the players decide. The alley-oop was 100 feet over Towns' head.
Uncatchable.
Yep, exactly.
First thing when I saw it, I was like immediately waving the hand over my head. I was like, "Oh, that's wrong sport. Wrong sport."
Wrong sport. I'm not a Warriors fan, and actually, I think sometimes the antics annoy me sometimes, and I think at times I think they think that they're always being treated unfairly and this and that. I felt like that game that they got shit on pretty good, honestly.
I get that feeling after 5 years, though, where every time you go out onto the floor, it's a lot like what Jordan dealt with for so long. Yeah. Every single game you play is like a really big game to everyone else.
Yes, it's their finals.
So you feel like every single thing is against you because every day that you step on the floor,
do the personalities add to that, though?
Yeah, like, and Curry or Durant, obviously ornery all the time. Cousins is a constant dick,
and
Draymond a constant dick.
No, Cousins honestly to me is like the least of what I would expect because Cousins isn't used to being in a situation like that.
True.
He
has no idea what winning is like.
He'll do stupid stuff, but it's different. Like, okay, when Curry knocked down that tying 3, the dance that he did across the court, screaming at the ref and like taunting, that type of stuff. I read something, I think it was the SB Nation morning email, and basically it was just like, listen, no one's saying that the refs are going to do, to treat you differently, but they, the referees, it's a fraternity, they are friends, they are together. It's kind of like a team. So when you treat one of them like garbage, or at least that's the perception, right? The optics of it, it's not a good look going into the playoffs.
No.
And Dre with the tweets, Durant, they're all some of the best players in the world, but there's no question that the appearance of it has not been great.
Yeah, for sure. At least they're not as bad as MLB umps, though. because those guys, they love each other even more than NBA refs.
Yeah, and they just live to say that you're out of here.
Joe West garbage.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about the Warriors? Who's standing out for you?
Honestly, nobody stands out that much to me. I find Clay interesting because he's so cheap.
Yeah.
You know, he's the type of guy that you don't really look at his recent performance because you're just waiting for that one blow up performance. You know what I mean? With Clay, you don't get hot or cold. It's when he breaks out, he has a game where he has 40 points in the first half. And when the price comes down because he hasn't been playing as well, it's always the right time to jump on because you never really predict when Clay's just going to erupt. With Durant, I agree with you, and I don't think I need to even go much further with that. As far as Cousins goes, he's gonna play probably 29, 30. I think he gets around 30 minutes in this one,
I
barring
have him in
foul.
for 28, but I already, just looking at it and understanding the stakes, I would expect him to get to that 30 mark. I just take a look at it quick.
Yeah. How much Cousins did I get? Because there are a bunch of centers. I got about 5% Cousins, but also I have to adjust exposure because I got a lot of Adams, a lot of Len, a lot of Capella, a decent amount of Pirtle, which I'm not really happy about.
Yeah.
And yeah, with Curry, I don't know, man. I don't know. Curry, obviously, he still has a high ceiling, but the likelihood that he gets there with Cousins on the floor playing 30 minutes, it's a lot lower than it was before.
It really is. What about for Denver? I've got two guys that I'm getting to. One is Paul Millsap, getting a little bit of volume on both sites. He grades out a little bit better on DK at 6,200 than on FanDuel. I expect him to see every single minute he could really handle from a rotation perspective. He really changes the way their defense runs, and he is much more tailor-made defensively for the Warriors than most teams.
Agreed. Isn't it weird how teams can buckle in big spots when they haven't been there before, like Washington losing or beating the Nuggets in Denver the other night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably don't get the Jokic much here. I think I got like 7% on my first go around.
Yeah, I don't have much at all.
No. Is Millsap the guy you said that you have interest in?
I do. Millsap and Will Barton.
Okay. And just Murray is another guy that I know I say this a lot, but he's just one of those guys that when he's shooting well, he can erupt, and he's still pretty inexpensive. You know, he's had 2 really solid games over his last 4, and once in a while he's just going to have brutally dreadful games.
Yeah. He's a guy that will never project well in any projection system.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, right. Because how can you project him for 30 points?
Right, and his price is generally kept at like his 60th percentile outcome.
Right.
Whereas the projection systems are coming in lower, so he'll always look bad there. But his error bars are monstrous, so you can't.
Right.
Like, don't play Jamal Murray in cash unless they mess his price up.
Right. But at a low 6K in what should be a very competitive game where he plays 33, 35 minutes, there's merit to considering him there.
Yeah, like when Murray pays off that price tag, he pays that price tag off.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Right. And when he doesn't, I mean, he can easily flop at 6K too.
Braves and Ronald Acuna are finalizing an 8-year, $100 million extension.
Whew.
Get that paper, baby.
Yeah, it's probably smart for them to lock that up.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, this game though, I find myself with less than I would expect. I'll just run through it quickly on this slate since we only have 4 games. The Lakers, OKC, Atlanta, Spurs, and I am getting a little more Houston than I thought. Those are the 5 teams I think that I'll have the most focus on. What about you?
No, it's the exact same thing. This game doesn't have monstrous totals. Both teams are really good, and they don't have anybody missing to create value. So it's just a lot of good guys at their price tags that there should be at.
Exactly.
And then for Oklahoma City is getting the benefit of a really big pace game and a terrible Lakers defense. There's
For
nobody playing for the Hawks. There's nobody playing for the Lakers. So all of this value is in other places, whereas all of these guys are priced where they should be. So it's really hard to prioritize any of them. You kind of just need to rotate through 10 guys in this game and hope you get the right combination.
Well, let's give our favorite play from this game overall. I'll tell you, it might surprise you. My favorite play from this game is going to be Klay Thompson.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. $6,400, even 74 on FanDuel I'm okay with, but $6,400, you're getting him as a guy who is, I won't say well underpriced, but definitely very reasonably priced. I mean, you could easily project him for huge minutes here. I'm projecting him at 35, even though that
Same.
could be low. If you're giving this guy, what is he, like a 1.03 fantasy point per minute guy on the season or something?
He's been one flat on FanDuel over his last 30 days.
Okay.
I just know that because I have it in front of me.
That's fine. DraftKings on the season, he's 1.02. But really, even at 35 minutes, that projects decently. And that's not including the fact that in an important game, he could play 37, 38 minutes.
Right. Yeah. These minutes can definitely go up if this one's close.
Right. So, yeah, Klay would be my top guy from this game.
Yeah. I greatly like Klay. I feel kind of similar about Millsap, but it's a step down. I just feel like Millsap has a higher floor for me.
Right.
Klay with a much, much higher ceiling. And then on FanDuel, I don't really like any of the Warriors. I would probably pick Cousins, just 8,500, just because it's only one center. He's been at 1.44, so it's not like he's not putting up numbers. On Denver for FanDuel, probably Will Barton because of the positions, but that makes me really sick to my stomach because he is just not a good fantasy player more often than that.
As long as he's not ejected or in foul trouble, Cousins can absolutely smash here.
Yep. All right. I'm tired of talking to you.
Yeah.
3 hours.
Likewise, fella. I'm beat.
Yeah. NBA Strategy is the promo code. 50% off your first month with us. Any monthly package you choose, including packages with Fantasy Cruncher. If you want to check out all of the content we're ripping through this stretch of overlap, an all-access package with a NBA Strategy promo code will do you pretty well. We'll have Ben and Tim coming up at 2:30 talking Valero Open. Laffy and Adam will be back at 4:45, hitting on a little bit of basketball and then plowing through the MLB slate. Myself and Chris Baggs will be on from 6 until 7, talking about baseball lock. And then since this slate locks at 8, Fast Eddie Fear from 7 to 8 or somewhere in that range, talking about these 4 games for you guys. We will be hitting it all day, nonstop. Where else would you rather be than Awesemo.com's YouTube channel?
Nowhere.
There you go. Laffy, what else you got? Anything else?
No, man. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll be back with you tonight.
On Wisconsin said, go take a nap, guys, on a 1K mattress. Missing a 0, dude. Missing a 0. I'm out of here. Later.